Once upon a time, in a small town nestled deep in the woods, there was a legend of a ghost that haunted the nearby abandoned mansion. The mansion was once owned by a wealthy family, but they disappeared without a trace, leaving the mansion to rot away in the woods. As the years went by, people whispered stories of strange noises and sightings in the mansion, but nobody dared to enter. One day, a group of young filmmakers decided to investigate the legend and make a documentary about the haunted mansion. They arrived at the town and started asking around about the mansion. The locals warned them to stay away, but the filmmakers were determined to uncover the truth. The group consisted of 4 members: Alex, the director; Sarah, the camerawoman; Mark, the sound guy; and Rachel, the production assistant. They rented a cabin near the mansion and set up their equipment. The first night, they went to the mansion to scout the location. As they approached the mansion, they felt a chill run down their spines. The mansion looked ominous, with its broken windows and overgrown vines. Alex instructed the team to start filming, and they entered the mansion. As they walked around the mansion, they heard strange noises coming from the upstairs. They looked at each other, unsure of what to do. Sarah suggested they split up and explore different parts of the mansion to cover more ground. Reluctantly, the group agreed, and they separated. Sarah went upstairs to film, while Mark set up the sound equipment in the basement. Rachel stayed on the ground floor, exploring the living room, and Alex went to the backyard to get some exterior shots. As they worked, strange things started to happen. Sarah heard whispers coming from the room next to her, but when she entered, there was nobody there. Mark's sound equipment started malfunctioning, and Rachel saw a shadowy figure in the living room. Alex felt like he was being watched from the woods, but when he turned around, there was nothing there. The group reconvened outside the mansion and shared their experiences. They decided to call it a night and return the next day with a plan. The next day, they continued filming, but things started to get more intense. Sarah saw a ghostly figure in the corner of her eye, and Mark heard strange noises coming from the walls. Rachel felt like she was being followed, and Alex found a strange symbol etched into the back wall of the mansion. As the sun started to set, the group started to feel uneasy. They decided to call it a night and return to their cabin. But as they walked through the woods, they heard footsteps following them. They turned around but saw nothing. They quickened their pace, but the footsteps grew louder. As they reached their cabin, they saw a figure standing in front of the door. The figure was cloaked in darkness, and they couldn't make out its face. Alex tried to reason with it, but it didn't respond. Suddenly, the figure vanished into thin air, and the group ran inside the cabin. Locking the door behind them, they sat huddled together, trying to make sense of what just happened. Suddenly, they heard a knock at the door. They looked at each other, unsure of what to do. The knock grew louder and more persistent. Finally, Sarah gathered the courage to open the door. To their surprise, there was nobody there. But they heard a faint whisper coming from the woods, saying, "You shouldn't have come here." From that moment on, things started to spiral out of control. They would hear strange noises in the middle of the night, and their equipment would malfunction inexplicably. The group started to lose sleep and their sanity. One day, Rachel disappeared. The group was frantic, searching the cabin and the surrounding woods, but she was nowhere to be found. They found a note on her bed that read, "I can't take it anymore. I have to get out of here." The group was devastated and decided to pack up and leave. As they were leaving, they saw a figure standing in the woods, watching them. The figure was wearing a tattered gown and had long, unkempt hair. They couldn't make out its face, but they knew it was the ghost of the mansion. They ran to their car and drove away as fast as they could, but the ghost was not done with them yet. As they were driving, they saw the ghostly figure standing in the middle of the road. They swerved to avoid it, but the car crashed into a tree. The group woke up, dazed and injured, but alive. They saw the ghostly figure standing outside the car, watching them. They got out of the car and ran into the woods, not looking back. As they were running, they stumbled upon an old cabin deep in the woods. They went inside, hoping to find shelter. But to their horror, they found Rachel's lifeless body on the floor. The ghost had gotten to her. The group realized they were trapped, with no way out. They heard the ghostly figure outside the cabin, banging on the door. They knew it was only a matter of time before it got to them. In a last-ditch effort, they decided to perform an exorcism on the ghost. They found an old book of rituals in the cabin and started reciting the words. The ghostly figure grew more and more agitated, but the group persisted. Finally, the ghost let out a blood-curdling scream and vanished into thin air. The group was relieved, but they knew they had to leave the woods as soon as possible. They hiked for hours until they finally reached civilization. They went to the authorities and told them everything that had happened. The police investigated the mansion and found evidence of strange rituals and sacrifices. The group went their separate ways, traumatized by their experience. They never forgot the ghostly figure that haunted the abandoned mansion, and they never spoke of it again. From that day on, the mansion was avoided by all. But the legend of the ghost lived on, passed down from generation to generation, a cautionary tale of the dangers that lurk in the woods.